What's going on, world?
What's up? What's up?
Mike on the line, Mike Bailey. Hey, I'm CJ Bailey. And welcome to our second podcast. It's my first, Mike's second. And, we're just here to share some information with the world. Hopefully, we can, bring some insight to a lot of people tonight or today and, help some
Changing
people out.
lives.
Yeah, all day long, help some people change their lives and get that motivation they need to, just conquer the day. Every day is a new day. It's just like eating the elephant. If people ask the question, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So we're gonna take this thing one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, and just know, hey, we just gotta keep pressing forward. So what we want to do is, what you'll see there is you'll see our topic that we're going to talk about, and we're going to do it in, a couple phases. And we're going to talk about insight, energy, and execution throughout these phases. But today we're going to kind of focus in on the insight. But before we get started, I want to just tell you a little bit about myself, a quick little intro, and then I'll kick it over to Mike so he can do a quick little intro, and you know who you on the line with. So me, I'm Mike's baby brother, as he probably would say. I'm the youngest of the family, and we both come from a little small, humble little town. Um, and I've been in the military 18 years, so I joined right out of the high school. So I've been really, I guess you could say, that's been my life, and went through a lot of experiences, got a lot of training. I tell you, it was definitely a great choice, a great decision that I think I made not just for me, but for my family, that I think I made at an early point in my life. And so, with that, it just has really developed me and the family into um, thinking outside the box, having an open mind. And, what we might key on today is, a lot about the entrepreneur spirit, and things like that. So, with that, Mike, I kick it over to you just to tell the folks a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump right into
All right. Like you said, I'm Mike. Um, TJ and I on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as the sibling. I'm the oldest of us. But anyway, I've been in sales for 18 years. Um, I do motivation and inspiration, training, as far as sales. Somewhat what a lot of people call life coach. But I've been doing that for about, I would say 14, 15 of those 18 years. So training, it's just kind of been my thing. I think what drove me to this platform is I was interacting with a lot of people, CJ, that like I said before, I saw a lot of me in there, and I knew, all I needed was help and some guidance, for lack of a better way of saying it. So as I started seeing and identifying that, then I started um, looking into it, and as I got what the platform is, more insight, then I just started giving it direction. And, uh, it's taught me a lot it's done a lot for me and my family the same. And I see a lot of people, my kids included, that's got a little bit older kids as well, that they're not hateful. They're not bad. They just don't know what's going on. So I think once I realized that was going on, then this is the direction that I decided would be best for us. And like I said, CJ, he even being the baby of the family, he's brought a lot. So I think seeing what you were doing as well was like, hey, you know what? I need to get some direction here. So I just, hey, this is where we're gonna go. This is what we're gonna do. And like you said, we're gonna change the world one life at a time. So that's
it.
where I'm
Okay.
at. That's who I am.
Okay. Well, what I'll do now is just kind of just tell y'all a little bit about our topic, and why we chose that topic. So we talked about insight, energy, and execution. And one may ask why you chose that. And for us, we looked at it as, you know, how do we accomplish goals? How do we accomplish things? How do we get to where we want to be? And how have the successful people in life got to where they are? You know, and everybody has a goal, everybody has a vision, everybody has dreams and things of that nature. And what separates those who accomplish those goals or dreams is those who really go along with what we, have the topic is today. The first thing they do is they want to gather insight. They want to get intel. They want to gain the knowledge of what it takes to be successful. And a lot of times you can get that from reading, you can get that from listening to audio, you can get that from just mentorship from those people directly and indirectly. And so that's kind of where the insight comes in. Of before you decide you want to jump into something and decide you want to execute, you need to get that knowledge. You need to get that the blueprint, I guess you can say. And it's not about necessarily copying exactly what people have done, but you know, it's people love to share their experiences because it'll help you get past, so that you don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of people come in and they're scared of failure, and you will hear a lot of people talk about failure is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Failure is a stepping stone in the right direction. And so again, that's what we're going to focus on today. But just to talk about how that blends into the rest of the subject title is, once you get that insight and you really understand and gather and develop your why, right? And when you understand your why, you get passionate about what you want to do. And when you have passion, that's where energy comes in, right? You're putting your energy towards something that drives you so much that failure is not an option. And that energy and that passion can come from your kids. It can come from, you're looking for your next meal. It can come from just anything. Somebody might have said something to you and it just was, that's what clicked, And so, first you want to get that insight. You want to get that why, develop that, and then you get that energy, right? And that why drives that energy, and that's the effort that you're going to put towards whatever you want to accomplish. And at the end of the day, once you get the insight, which you can correlate that to your why, you get the energy, which drives your passion, and then now it's time to execute. And when you get to the execution phase, you want to be um, in a position of where you're executing with the best plan. You've already learned what not to do, what to do, to the best of your ability. Learn from other people, and it allows you to execute with a higher probability of success. And so, I talked to my brother the other day, and we used the car analogy. You know, your kids ride in your vehicle with you all the time, and most of the time, nowadays they're probably on their iPhone, on their iPad, or doing something and not necessarily paying attention
Right.
to how you are controlling this car, to the key things that you have learned over the years about defensive driving. And so we're really not going to say, hey, kid, hey, child, you're 15 now, go drive, right? It's a process. And this
Oh,
is what
absolutely.
we want to talk about in that process. Hey, teach your kids, you know, get them excited about it, and then we can put them in the driving seat once we went through that insight, energy, and execution phase. And then so, but that's kind of the ballpark of where that stems from. But like I said, today we're gonna jump on. We're gonna hone in on insight,
Yeah.
and so with that, Junior. Oh yeah, that's what we'll go with
I'm a
that. I
junior.
call.
I'm a junior, so it's okay. If y'all hear that, then he's talking to me.
Yeah, I'm talking
But
to
hey,
him.
before you leave that, CJ, I kind of want to piggyback on that insight, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Um, you said you're talking about failure, and the reason we're starting with insight is because people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And a big part of moving from one place to the next is that plan. You know, I know I got to go west. Okay, great. You know what? But if if you're going west, you could go too far or not far enough. You know,
Mhm.
so um, planning, you got to have insights plan. You know, how you going to get there? How far away is it? How much gas do we need? You know, how long is the drive going to take? Do we need to stop for food, or can we wait till we get there to eat? You know, do we just take snacks or whatever the case may be? So and that's just piggybacking on that on off the vehicle and the insight and planning. You know, it's real important to get insight because you know without that you're just kind of in the dark with a blindfold trying to shoot a target. It's not gonna happen. You know, so you got to have some directive and yeah, and just bear that in mind. You know, don't fail to plan. Yeah, plan. You know, or else you are planning to fail. You know, you just put those backwards. So you know, don't be afraid of the failure. You know, that if you really look into it, the people with the greatest success, if you really look at it, are really the people with the greatest failures too. You know, I saw a diagram and it looked something like this: my wrist being an arrow going down on each side, and what this guy, what where I'm going with that is, it said failure mentality is I either succeed or I fail. And then when I went a little bit deeper, it was because you know when you look at that, it's like you know how to fail, succeed, just get back in on the inside. But anyway, move forward. I really want to lead with that. I just go out. I really wanted to lead with, you know, just don't be afraid of failure. You know, so don't be
Absolutely,
afraid
absolutely.
of
Either you have a plan or you plan to fail. You know,
failure.
that's that's one of the key things there. But that being said, you know, let's talk about how you get that insight. You know, and how you get to the point of where you start to understand your why, what drives you, and what's passionate, what gives you the passion to do what you do in life. You know, many people say, you know, it's my kids, right? Or I want this lifestyle or whatever it is. But a lot of times that's the surface, right?
Yeah,
That's just on the surface, and you haven't really got to the point of where you either succeed or you die, right? Succeed or die, and not in the literal terms of you know you dying, but you know you have so much drive and passion that nothing is going to stop you from getting to where you want to be in life. And so,
yeah,
with
right.
that being said, you know, us being brothers, I'll say we both had our moments in life where we, you know, have failed. You know,
Absolutely.
but here we are. You know, still, um, you know, moving forward and trying to progress through this thing called life. And so, with that, you know, our question for you is, you know, understanding your why. What, how have you, or are you even still developing your why? And you know, what is your why?
Well, I say this, you know, the first thing you got to understand is you cannot attach emotion to that why. You know, not right now, not in the start, because emotions come, emotions go. You're mad sometimes, and then you're happy. You know, if you get excited about something, you're that's a good thing, but that can't be your why because there's when the excitement dies, which it will, you know, as does the purpose. You know, so your why has to be it's I'm gonna use an analogy, you know. Why do you breathe? Because if you don't, there's a special place for you. You know, it's a little box that they bury 6 feet deep. So why do you breathe? Because I want to live. You know, there's no emotion attached to breathing. It's that's a purpose. You know, the purpose of breathing is to live. So if your why is, get in the car, man, I want to get that car because it looks nice. Okay, but when they come out with a nice, if you walk down the street and there's a nicer looking car, then now eventually you're just all over the place. So my why, honestly, one thing, and and if you heard the last podcast that I was on, I had some credit issues, things of that nature. And one of my biggest whys is I got tired of people taking my stuff. So all right, two things have to happen. I need to make more money so I can pay this stuff off, and then I had to have the credit to even get stuff. So there was no emotion attached to that. That was that. It's just I have to do this. Like one I remember one of the kids telling me one time, "Daddy, I'm hungry." Okay, that's not gonna happen again. No matter what I have to do, they're not my kids will not be hungry. You know, there's really not, there's a purpose there. There's not a reason, if you would. There's not an emotion attached to that. Whether I'm upset, they gotta eat. Whether I'm happy, they gotta eat. Whether I'm excited, they gotta eat. So your why needs to not have any emotion attached to the why you're doing it. And that's an insight thing, CJ. You really need to look into what it is you really want to do. And it needs to be realistic and attainable. You want to save $1 million, learn how to save 100 first. A million gets you excited. Learning to save 100 is a process. Save $100, there's a process. So your why needs to have a process that's not attached to emotion, in my opinion.
Okay. So definitely understand what you're saying, but how we are, the expectation is that we keep it real with each other and share our experiences together and things like that. And I'd challenge that, and say, for me, I think there is an emotional attachment to your why, right?
No, there is. You have to
Yeah,
have it. You got to be excited about it. There's
yeah,
emotion, but don't let that be
a
the why.
dictator. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't. So I get what you're saying, and for me, I'd say I have an emotion that I won't let dictate my progress.
there you go.
Right?
There you go.
I have an emotion because you said something that was key there of you know your kids will never go hungry no matter what you have to do. Right? They will eat. And to me, I would ask in that moment when you saw your child, your seed hungry, that hurt, that hit you to a point of where it propelled you forward and have the mentality of they would never have to, um, you know, ask for food and can't get it again, right?
Right.
So with that, that's an emotional attachment, right? That's
Mhm.
what drive exactly what you're saying is and the core of your why, right? And even
Mhm.
some of the things you talked about, a lot of people have that same mentality of, okay, my why is I want to be rich. My why is I want to, I just want to make $1 million. Those are all surface things,
Mhm.
and a lot of the people that talk and speak to whether they have their own channel or they're a motivational speaker and things like that, if you listen to them, their emotion comes out when they start to talk about their why. you know Whether it was somebody's parents that passed away at an early age, or whether that somebody's father wasn't in their life, their mother wasn't in their life, they had to step up and be an adult before adulthood. And those are the things that it struck an emotion, right? And passion is an emotion, and things like that. And so your why is a passion, right? Your why is what gives you that desired energy, and we'll get on that in the next podcast. But I just wanted to throw that out there, and it's important for people to understand that just because we have a difference of opinion doesn't we may still be talking about the same thing just in a different way,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And it's not a problem, you know, if he feels that if Mike feels that it shouldn't be an emotion attached, and I, you know, feel that it is, and that's not to say that that's exactly what Mike meant, you know, but we're just having a good conversation here,
Yeah.
and I wanted to throw that in.
And when I say I'm not saying that there's no emotion. What I'm saying is the emotion sparks the move. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
But if that move is all based on emotion, you're not gonna make that journey. I guess is a better way of saying it. You know, you got to that. I go back to my son, Daddy, I'm hungry. Yeah, it was a whole lot of emotion stirring up, but I made a decision. This is what I'm gonna do, regardless of. And that part of it, we'll call that the emotion step one. I wouldn't even call it step one. Me personally, I call it step half. You know, because it's there. But if when I'm upset, it's enough to stop me from moving, then that's what I mean by attaching that emotion. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
getting up going to work because I'm mad. What? You know,
yeah.
no, you know, no, you know, and just to go a step further, because you know we got to jump into the insight and where this is actually leading to that. You know, even when I'm when I don't feel good, you know, I'm sick. I get a sick, don't feel good, headache. I'm gonna have a headache whether I'm at home or I'm at work. My head is still gonna hurt, so I gotta go. My baby's gotta eat, you know. Um, and that's what I mean by not having that emotion. I guess I should have said too much attached to the drive, because if that's truth be told, if I'm excited, it's only gonna drive me more. But um, you start looking. I looked at, okay. I started investigating what was wrong with me. Okay. Look, you know what? How did I get to this? How did I'm not looking around saying, you know what? Uh, I was born on I was raised, I live, or however you want to say that, on the wrong side of the tracks, and that's why my son's not eating here. No, no. I started looking into what am I doing wrong? Okay, I'm am I not getting up early enough? Am I not working enough? Am I not working harder? And to that insight, even on that note, I found out hard work define hard work according to me. That's an opinion. That's based on somebody's emotion. Because if you're mad at me, I don't think I can do enough work for you to say I was working hard, because you're in your feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I have to change what I was doing. It's not, it's result oriented, not emotion based, and
Yeah.
that's what I based my when I started investigating, looking into how I could change, what I could change, what I can do, these things that nature. I make sure it's result based, not just because I'm excited. The emotion, in my opinion, again, sometimes that emotion isn't enough to keep it pushing. So if again, if you're excited about something, what happens when you get mad? Do you stop pushing at that point and not push as hard? You got to push it at 120 all the time. And that's what I mean by the emotion. Don't have too much of the emotion on the why. Because I'm excited. No, because I'm tired of my car breaking down. That's why I want the car. That one just happens to be the one that I want. So even when I'm upset, I'm tired. I'm still tired of that car breaking down.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that make it a little bit better? You know,
Yeah,
it,
yeah. No, it wasn't anything you know, wrong with it, you know. I think it's like what you said, you know, a lot of people they it's a mindset, right? And if you don't develop the mindset that a negative emotion is not the end of the journey. A negative emotion is not what's going to
Right.
stop you
Right.
from pressing forward.
Absolutely.
And I've been told I'm an emotionless guy, or whatever.
Hey, I guess that's hereditary.
uh,
Who
but
told
but
you?
yeah, but I
I
mean,
think
I
you
bet
did. That's it.
I beg to differ. I just have a mindset of, things that I cannot change or control.
Absolutely.
I never will I wake up mad ever. Never will I wake up mad. And that's just a mindset. And
Absolutely.
never will I allow something, a snapshot in time, dictate the rest of my day. Right?
All it
So
is a block.
it's a block of time. And if
That's
you
all it
and if you don't have that mindset to take the next step and conquer your day, without that negative emotion tied to it. You got people out here who if they get mad at the dream they had, they mad at the world.
is.
You know,
Absolutely. Walking around stomping with your lips out, rolling
yeah,
your eyes.
yeah.
What's wrong with you?
You like, what did I do to you? I didn't do nothing to you. I just said good morning. You know,
How did my good morning upset you?
yeah. So, but again, it's a mindset thing, and it's not something that people just naturally have. We all learn that.
Absolutely.
Behavior is learned. So, and it all starts on what was instilled in you, and I think it's important to, and you mentioned it earlier. It's important to know that your destiny is not necessarily based on where you started, right? Your destiny is based
Mm-hmm.
on what goals you set, the vision you have for your life, and how much energy you're gonna put
Absolutely.
towards getting to it. So, all right. So, with that, how do you gain insight?
I think you got to have, like I said, a direction first. It starts with direction, because what are you looking for, and in my opinion, insight is just like you said earlier, CJ. If you don't know where you're going or have an idea where you're going, then you don't know what to look for. So the first thing you got to start with is what am I doing, or what am I going to do? You know, and once you decide that, it's why am I going to do that, and that's when the insight starts. You know, insight is like you said, it's intel, it's information. New information creates new decisions. So if if when you got to look at what is it that you're doing, you know how do I do this process? You got to start asking questions. That's a great place to start. Look for people that have the things that you're trying to get, or where you're trying to go, and start asking questions. you know I'm going to go back to the work analogy. You can come in. Some people think, like, literally, I go to these different places and I hear the conversation. I'm there to help with the training, or do some type of motivation, mainly when it's there for training. And I hear this so often, it just blows my mind. Man, I worked all day. I was here for 14 hours yesterday. Great. What did you get done? They're looking at they're looking at how long they're there versus what they got done. Their insight is wrong. You got to confuse, because if you're there for 3 hours, 10 hours, 14 hours, if you didn't get anything done, you didn't get anything done. The mission wasn't accomplished. But if you're basing that on the number of hours that you were there, your insight is wrong. So I got to ask that question. Okay, um, Mr. Bailey, hey, what is it that you want done? Because my version of work might be, hey, look, I don't care how long it takes you guys. I just need all this garbage picked up. Does that make sense? We need 3 sales today. Whether it takes you 3 hours or 14 hours, we need 3 sales. So even if you were there that 14 hours, and you didn't get 3 sales, in my opinion, you didn't work hard. So your insight is wrong. Your intel is wrong. So you got to ask questions. You got to find out the right information so that you can figure out where to go from there. So if
Hmm.
your information is wrong, you're going to be viewing things wrong, and you got bad insight. So you got to start with questions, in my opinion. Figure out what it is you want to do. Start asking how it is that I do that, but don't ask people that don't have or aren't doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Um, I got some analogies. I think they got to wait for the next podcast to say them, but because it's gonna. I don't want to get too far ahead. But you don't ask somebody broke how to save $1 million. You know what I'm saying? You don't ask somebody walking how to buy a car. What are they gonna tell you? They go over to the car lot. Well, they're right. They're not wrong. You gotta go to the car lot, but your information is wrong. When you get to that car lot, you gotta have some money. You gotta have some credit. So it's you gotta have the right information. So you start with questions, in my opinion.
Got you, and yeah, that's pretty powerful. Questions, and one of the things I would tell you, people probably can get a lot of their questions answered if they read. You know, I
It's in the
tell you,
book.
I'm not an avid reader,
Me too.
um, but I will listen to an audio all day long. You know, and just lately I've just really been listening to things that motivate me on my way to work. I listen to motivational speeches, and it could be 10, 15 minute, 5 minute little YouTube videos, and I just look for what is gonna give me that energy for the day. But you did say something that was that sparked me to come back to, and that was, you said, in your opinion, you have a perspective or a version of what entails work, what means work, right? And if I hear you correctly, from the CEO, from the leader, from the that perspective, you're results based, right?
Everybody's
And so work is attributed to the result, right?
absolutely.
And so I can fully understand that, and the one thing I would ask you is, with that mindset, have you do you feel it has brought about any challenges with
Oh,
your employees continuing to have that motivation, to continue to have that drive, right? Because
absolutely,
yeah, so
absolutely.
here's why I asked that question, right? um you know and I'll take it back a little bit and I'll bring it back full circle. So you talked about having that insight, and in order for you to even know what insight you need to gather, you got to know what the end result is that you're trying to get to, right?
Absolutely.
So 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 you have to initially say, this is let's just use a goal. This is my goal. I want to get this accomplished, right?
Mhm.
And then you have to, in the military, we talk about it, you have to start backwards planning, right? And when you start backwards planning, that's the time, right? They talk about SMART goals, right? um, but you have to backwards plan, and okay, how long do I want to give myself to meet this goal, this end state, right?
Absolutely.
And at that point, once you start to put dates on the wall, once you start to really backwards plan, right now, even with that, you have to start gathering insight. What is a legitimate time? What is this? And then that's where you dig into the mentorship and talking to different people, listening to different audios, reading books, wherever you can get that insight from. But, you know, for me, there's kind of a little different perspective, right? And that comes from being in the military. Uh, and just going navigating through life a little bit. For me, when I talk about the insight of what working hard means, to me, I don't necessarily look at it as the results. And that's not to say that it's a bad thing or at all. So, let's just take, we in the military, we have to deploy and go and defend, this country. And it's a daily grind. It's hard work. But unfortunately, we have people that perish, right? That get killed. And the end state was for nobody to have to be buried 6 feet under, right?
Right.
And so, you know, to the analogy, to the point of why I'm bringing this up is, for you in sales, you said, well, if the end state is 3 sales, then if you didn't get 3 sales, to me, you didn't work that day, right? And that's not to turn that into a negative statement. That's just a different, career or different environment, and where that makes more sense, But when you come into, let's just say, the life that, you've been in sales 18 plus years, I've been in the military 18 plus years,
Right.
and so again, the working hard piece is, you know, if people are working hard, hey, you've worked hard, but what did we learn? Where, what did we gain from this time that we're going to do different to make sure that we do meet that end state or that end result?
And if I can put a shameless plug in there right quick, I don't want people to confuse me saying, that was an analogy. If the guys come back with they got 2 sales that day, please understand, two is not a failure. One is not a failure. You know, and I'm talking and speaking in terms of sales. If they come back with 1 sale, they didn't fail in my opinion. They got something accomplished. I mean, but they didn't succeed. They didn't fail, but they didn't succeed. If they come back with 2, they didn't fail, but they didn't succeed. Success was 3 because that's what you said you were gonna do. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
you didn't fail, you just didn't succeed because you said 3. So result was 3. You got something done at 1. You got something done at 2. Result was 3 though because that's what you said. If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
And going back to your question, CJ, I think it was a question. You said, do I run into feelings with people with the way that but yeah, I do. But I make it known up front, quick, off the bat. If I have to choose between your feelings and your future, your feelings lost that battle. We're not gonna tie. So what? If you're gonna be upset, if I have to care about whether or not you're upset or whether or not you're gonna get your mortgage paid, then be mad. And that's what I mean by not attaching an emotion to it. Because my goal is to change lives. I don't have time to worry about how you. I didn't say I don't care about how you feel. I just don't have time to stay there. I care enough not to care. I care enough about your future not to care about your feelings. Now, when we both have time, if you want to sit down and tell me about your feelings, I'm gonna be. I can listen to that. And what we call this is being empathetic. I'm not gonna be sympathy. People give you sympathy. Oh, I know you're upset, and now you don't have to. Why don't you go sit down? Okay, go sit down. But when it's time to get what needs to get done, man up, woman up, and say, hey, you know what? I didn't feel like going to work. Okay, call TXU and say I didn't feel like going to work.
Gotcha,
What
gotcha.
what do they're not worried about your feelings. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? It's got to be result oriented, um, and that's what I mean about the feeling thing. I love people. I love people. That's why I love sales. That's why I love trading. And I know people struggle, but I think and when I was younger, that was one of my biggest problems. You know, it. See that I laughed about it when you said it. People say we don't have any emotion. Honestly, I think I'm a very emotional person. I really do. I think
Hey,
I'm a very emotional person. I'm
it's like
always in my feelings.
like a crazy person don't know they crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm real emotional. I might not cry, but I'm crying on the inside. I might not laugh,
Yeah,
but boy, I'm just bouncing all around on the inside. I feel sorry, but I still got to get done what I got to get done,
yeah,
regardless of that. So I might not show it because I'm purpose driven.
yeah.
And right now, you need some of the people they need to see that. I
Hmm.
can't say stop crying. You don't need to be crying right now, but I can show you how to push past that.
Oh
What
wow, yeah,
you say we're a product of our environment. You know what I'm saying? Like my 8-year-old, he's well, CJ, you know how I was. I was a little crybaby when I was a kid. I cried about everything. You look at me too long, I was crying. You
ain't nothing
know,
changed.
yeah.
Nah, brother.
Let the truth be told. No, but anyway, because he doesn't see Daddy cry when he in front of you, he's fine. You ask him, "Hey, Elijah, you okay?" You can see clearly something's wrong with him, and I'm fine, and then he'll go in his room and he goes in there and cry. You know, it's not that he doesn't cry; he just doesn't see me do it. So that's I guess in his mind, it's okay. I don't do this in front of people.
Insight, the capacity to gain an accurate and deep intuitive understanding of a person or thing.
He in the eye of the people, stand strong.
Man, and that's
I express my feelings behind closed doors, and
if
that's what he does. I didn't even know I was teaching him that. You know,
yeah,
yeah, thinking about it, it's the same thing. Like you, I don't know if I should be saying this out loud, but the story you shared about Kingston and the debit card. You that's what he sees. He sees.
yeah.
I just want to be rich like you, daddy. Mommy. It's just like that's what he sees. So I didn't say he was rich, CJ. That was just, I don't want nobody trying to figure out where you live.
Hey, hey, hey,
Don't
come
forget he's in the
on.
military.
Hey, tell them to come on by. I'll show them how to make a little money.
You got an armory at home.
Yeah, I'll show them how to make a little money. By no means are we just rich. We make it. We're doing pretty good. But
There you go.
you brought up a great point, and I think I can a moment of where you said you don't have time, right, for that moment right there, and two things actually, and so I'll tell you about a moment when I was deployed, of where the emotional aspect, it was not the right time, right?
Absolutely.
And I'll try to keep this story condensed, but you know, it's inevitable when you're in war or in battle, you're gonna see death, right? You're gonna see people perish that you know sometimes are close to you and sometimes are not. And so, I'm in the medical field, and so we work in a in the environment where it don't matter if you're injured or you hurt bad or even deceased. We see it all. And
Absolutely.
so, one of the things that is taught in the military, especially as a care provider, in an environment like that, when someone injured or someone is badly hurt in some way, shape, form, or fashion, when they come into the medical world, they expect you to be able to provide the best care that you can to help them get over that pain, that injury, or basically help them to get back to where they need to be, right? To
Right.
heal them, to be a healer, I guess you can say.
Right.
And so there was this. I won't go into too much detail, but there was this one day where we had a mass casualty is what they call it, and what that really equates to is um, injuries or you know deaths or whatever that exceeds the capability of whatever medical platform that you're actually you're manning, I guess you can say.
Right,
And
right.
so on this day, we had a mascot, and typically there's, and this goes back to the insight, right? There's a location of where you bring the deceased, and there's a location of where you bring the badly injured, right? And you know, it's a finite line, right? Because somebody that's non-medical, we may say, yeah, it's easy to tell that somebody is dead, but you don't know if that person can be resuscitated or whatever. But
Right.
anyway, the long story short is, you know, there was this one individual that worked at the same aid station as what we call it in the military, when we were deployed. And the day prior to him going out on mission, he just had a bad feeling, right? Bad intuition about, I didn't want to, I don't want to go out the next day. I don't want to go on mission the next day. And, it's one of those things where we signed on the dotted line to where, we're going to go on the missions that we have to go on, and we don't have much of a choice.
Right.
And so the next day they went out on mission, and mass casualty happened. We get the call saying we're bringing in, 5 patients. The next they said we're bringing in 10 patients. One vehicle come, they have injured patients, and we bring them in the aid station, start treating them, and so forth. And then another vehicle, a big Bradley armored tank, we see it hauling down the road going super fast, and we're all standing out in the back of the aid station to receive these patients. Patients that we assumed were injured very badly, and we would have to take quick action to try to save their lives. And
Right, right.
so, as soon as that Bradley pulls up and stops, they drop the hatch, and that the hatch is like that's like the back door or
The
whatever,
trunk.
the where they, yeah, the trunk basically. And it was probably about 15, different medics and medical care providers out there ready with litters and things to bring them into the aid station and start treating immediately. And so, you know, once that door opened, we saw 5 bodies stacked up, right? Covered, covered with a rug, right? And it was non-medical personnel that brought them in, and they really didn't have the insight of what really was supposed to happen, or they did have the insight, and you know in the face of adversity, in the heat of the moment, you know people don't really start to think rationally. They can't understand and comprehend
Right.
with in such a traumatic event. So needless to say, we started to, we had to take action, right? We had to do something, and we started to move. And unfortunately, in one of those bodies was that exact same person that came in, that worked in the aid station, and said that they didn't want to go out. They had a bad feeling about it, right? And so there were a lot of people that were very, um, they were very close to that individual because he worked with them day in, day out. And so we had some new, very fresh, new people right out of high school, in this environment. And, you know, when they saw that as the medical personnel, they broke down and started crying. And you can see how it was, in that moment of where the people who had brought these patients in, started paying attention to them, and they started losing faith, started losing, the confidence that, okay, these are the medical professionals. They're going to take care of and do what needs to be done. And so, me being the person that I am, it was at that moment I literally felt like a trigger. I felt like I had to shut all emotions off. I knew, but I wasn't as close to that guy as as some of the other folks were. So it
Right.
was like at that moment, like you said, I had to shut all emotions off, and I actually had to tell them, y'all need to go around on the side if you cannot. And this is in the heat of all of this going on, excuse me. And I had to tell them, go around there, around the building, and come back when you can, you know, gather yourself, right? Get your composure because they're depending on us to take action, regardless if we know we can't save their life or not,
Feelings of
right?
future. Absolutely.
Right. And so in that moment, you know, that was absolutely the right time that we couldn't show. We didn't have time to be an emotional breakdown, um, in moving forward with what needed to happen. So I know that's kind of like the long version, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, no. I
yeah,
think we need to take a minute anyway. And again, CJ, I know you may know, but I don't feel like we say it enough. We really do appreciate you for what you do and have continued to do. You know, and I was in the military. But I didn't see any wartime. You know what I'm saying? So, and it takes a special person for that. But that's another part of that insight. Um, when we say insight, guys, um, from this side of the table, uh, you know, saying that right now, CJ, I appreciate you. Thank you. Glad my brother comes home. He's been deployed a few times, so he's made it. Thank you. Does that mean something to you too? To me too, rather. But that's what we mean by insight. You know, insight. Another word we can replace or whatever the case may be. You just have to know when, and knowing when comes with having the right information. You got to investigate whether it's in your life, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your work, whether it's with your kids, whether it's saving money, whether it's making moves. No matter what it is, you have to have the right information. And if you I read this on a book one time, um, on a little banner. Um, it said leaders are readers, and I'm like CJ, I don't care to read. Reading doesn't excite me. But one thing that I understood is if I wanted to lead, then I need to read. They didn't they didn't. It's the right information. If you can't read, listen to podcasts. Listen to some inspiration. Listen to the right things. Trash in, trash out. Whatever you're reading is what's going to come out. You're going to fill yourself with that thing. So if you're reading, if you're reading love stories or drama's going to come out. You got the right idea. Leaders are readers. Okay, I'm gonna read a whole bunch of these. Oh, I love you, Bob and Billy and Sue and Tom, and that's what's gonna come out. You're right. You're reading, but you're reading the wrong thing. You got to read the right information. You
yeah,
know, you're going to seminars. Wonderful. That is the right thing. Go to a seminar. But if you're trying to if you're trying to learn um, how to build a house, but you're going to seminars about cooking, a spatula ain't gonna put that house up. You got a lot of you got a lot of information, so you got to have the right information.
it's like putting the cart before the horse, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Watch this. You're gonna have a circus going on. So
Yeah,
you have to. This is what that insight is about. Making sure that the direction is right. And CJ, to your point, he's right. It was a time that there's a time for feelings, and there's not. Right then, I don't know if anybody else caught that, but right now is not the time. In that moment, we're the people that these people are looking to, and if the people that they're looking to for help are showing weakness or we're not sure of ourselves, what hope do we have? We just stripped the hope right from them, you know. So hey, look, y'all trust me, trust and believe. I know my baby brother, and I know just because we're family, we're blood, I know he was feeling some kind of way. He understood what's going on with these people. He understood the emotional side of what was going on when they saw their friend in the bag. He understood that. How could he not? But now is not the time for us to do that. We can't be in our feelings right now. His insight, his knowledge, his information said now is not the time for us to be in our feelings. And if you can't control being in your feelings right now, I need you to move. He wasn't being insensitive. He was saving lives. He was feelings, future. He was in that future mode. He understood the feelings, I'm sure, and see, you can speak to that too. I have to know he understood the feelings because he saw the bodies in the bag too, and I'm sure he's seen more of them. But it was more about the future. What's gonna happen if I allow my feelings right now to overtake what's going on? There is no
Absolutely.
future.
Absolutely. And that's what and we spoke to that same point earlier, is allowing your feelings to dictate how you get to your destination or not.
Absolutely.
And so but yeah, but yeah, moving on along, another question that I wrote down is who or what has been the most impactful to that aha moment for you um, in your life, and why, when it comes to gaining that insight or just actually moving forward with the purpose that you felt, or what you felt was your purpose in life.
Um, I and this is I hope it's not coming out of context. One of those people is you. When I saw you making moves, it was just like, man, this is my baby brother. He's making these moves. I got to be doing something wrong. So I started watching what you were doing. I was one big thing. You know what I'm saying? And there are other people in our family that when I started watching that, I started looking closer at them too. And I was like, okay, you know what? We're all from the same place. And I got this person doing this, boom, boom, these people doing this, and I have these people that are here, and I got people going here. So it can't be the environment. So I started looking at that. You were one. Um, I was listening to motivational speakers. I don't know, what if we can say names on here or not, but I started working with another guy, and um, he told me, it's the title of another podcast. He was like, okay, as soon as you get rid of all your excuses, then you'll get what you want. And until he said that, I didn't realize how many excuses I had, because I never paid attention to my excuses. I was always looking at my situation. You know what I'm saying? And and to that, my situation was a whole bunch of excuses. And then of course, I told you my kids, my wife and kids, but I made a decision at that point. You know what? If I can't change until I change. So I need to start making moves. I need to start making decisions, and that's what I did. I just started making a group of decisions. I think I'm answering the question. It kind of broke up in there on the line, but who motivates me? Who moves me? My family. Um, I look at people, and I don't know that I can say this enough. I Once I started identifying who I am, looking at who I was, my insight, my intel about myself, and why I was acting, doing where I was. Once I understood that, then I can evaluate this, that, and the other. And I started identifying a lot of me and other people. And my motivation, one of my biggest motivations is, you know, who if they're not if who's gonna help them? Nobody's helped them all this time. Who's gonna help them? You know, um, Sometimes we gotta help ourselves. And as bad as that may sound, somebody needs to tell people that you need to help yourself. And I made a decision that that's what I was gonna do. You know, I started a business. Why? Because I wanted I wanted to be in a place where I knew people would come so that I can tell them, you got to help yourself. People are looking for jobs. If I have a business, people are going to come in, and the people that come in, 90% of those people are coming in a bad situation already. So now here's a platform where I can show them how to get out of a situation, and then I can teach them how to stay out of a situation.
Mm.
And I could do it in a facet that it would be long term. You know,
Oh
they're
yeah.
fishing. I'm teaching them to fish, not giving them a fish. Hey, I gave you a fish. Now let me teach you to fish. Let's go.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's my motivation of this is to, you know, let people know that it's no the whole world's not out to get you. Sometimes you self-sabotage yourself. You know, there was a point in time I couldn't keep a job more than 2 years and I couldn't figure it out. But once I started researching myself, I found out without knowing I was sabotaging myself because it wasn't, but it was always everybody else's fault. You know, they fired me. They don't like me. I'm black. I'm not tall enough. You know, whatever the case may be, they ain't like the way I smile. Only consistent thing in all those different places was me. So when I started looking better, getting that insight, that understanding, then I was able to make adjustments and fix it. You know, and I'm still a work in progress, CJ. Um, I haven't arrived yet. You know, they say the road to success is always under construction. So
Mm.
I'm going to constantly work on myself, and
I
I'm
like
going
that.
to help other people work on themselves as well. Hopefully,
Yeah, I like that. The road to success is always under construction. You know, because
absolutely,
it keeps moving. There's no dead end there, right?
absolutely.
So you know, you said something about excuses, and I heard someone say in the past before that excuses only sound good to the person making them. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
Yeah, you know,
and
it's
so
funny. You know, you either win or lose. You know,
yeah.
my son told me, and you know, I'm a big Cowboys fan. I'm all Cowboy. Anyway, he said they only won by 1 point. The only people worried about that were the people who lost.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You know, so it's perspective. You know, and
yeah,
excuses are the same way. You know, the only people worried about your excuse is one giving them.
yeah.
Everybody else worried about your excuse, so stop giving excuses. You know,
I've even
let's
I,
look inside.
look. I've even been a culprit, I guess you can say, is you know, several years, you know, earlier, I've even basically said, I'm not giving you any excuses. I'm just telling you why. I'm
Yeah,
just, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and I had to really, you know, come to the realization that at the end of the day, yes, in my mind, I'm telling you why, but the reality is, it's just an excuse of why I didn't do what was needed to be
Put that
done and
excuse
so
in
forth.
suit and tie.
Yeah, sometimes we just got to be like, I didn't accomplish it, or I didn't do it, and I'll get it right next time.
You
You
know,
know,
and here's a piece of insight too, CJ. You know, people need to understand: as long as you're blaming somebody else, you're not in control
mm,
because you can't control people. You know, if they fired me because they didn't like me,
yeah,
okay, so if the next people don't like you, they're gonna fire you too.
yeah,
Maybe you got fired because you didn't do your job. Maybe you got fired because you kept coming in late. Maybe if your 15-minute break went 18 or 20 minutes, then you wouldn't have got fired.
yeah. It's
They,
about
they,
self reflection.
huh?
No, I say it's about self reflection and looking in the mirror.
Absolutely. It's everything to do with insight. You know, you got to understand this stuff. You know, you insight, guys. Insight is how you perceive. Is that's your insight. How you see things in sight, sight in sight. You know, it's
Uh,
insight, how you perceive. And if you
yeah,
have the wrong insight, if what's in you is how you see that is wrong, you're gonna go in the wrong direction. You're not gonna get it right. You know,
yeah,
so you have to have the right insight. And sometimes we have to understand how and what to look for. And we do that how? By asking questions, listening to stuff like this. You know, you got two people in two very different worlds right here. We're from the same school, CJ and I, you know, we have the same parents, we same town we grew up, you know, same rules we grew up. Well, I think his rules were a whole lot lax than mine, but that's a matter of opinion too. But anyway,
hey,
uh,
that's that insight. Our parents learned that insight of, and or hey, look, and or I gained insight from you what not to do. Look.
oh, there you go. Hey, but you know what? And to that point. See, that's a big thing. You know what? They say success leaves clues. Guess what? So does failure. So does
Mm,
failure. You know, you can learn what not to do by watching people. Man,
yeah,
maybe I'll not sneak out the house. You know what I'm saying? What happened if I just go ask him, can I leave? You know, we both left. I just got in trouble. He didn't. Why? I snuck out. He asked.
mm.
You know, his insight was different. You know,
Failure is a
I
teacher.
felt like the, huh?
Now I say failure is a teacher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is. You know, but people don't say that. People tell you, you know, we hear success clues all the time. You know, I guarantee, you know, some of the people watching, I say 70% or better of them have heard the term success leaves clues. But on that same token, less than 10% of them have ever heard failure leaves clues.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
it's all a matter of your insight, your information. You know, but
Yeah,
now give that 70%, that the other side of that coin for failure leaves clues too. Man, somebody just took off. Somebody just hit another level because they couldn't get past that 80% that they were pushing. Oh, let me look at this. Boom! All of a sudden, now they're in on the left side of the menu. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I always gotta order the dollar burger, dollar burger, dollar burger. Boom! Now they understand. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Now they're eating lobster and steak,
mm,
and all it was a matter of the information that they had. You
yeah,
know, so again, that's what the insight is about. It's about giving people an understanding. How do I look? What do I look for? Where do I
yeah,
look forward? You know, and what do I do with it? So
yeah,
and that's what we need lead to next. You know, that energy. And you know, I don't mean to get ahead, CJ, and hopefully this is okay, but you're gonna give off energy at all times. Whether you think you are thinking, you're either putting your energy on something good or you're putting your energy on something bad. But you're constant. That's what we are. We're just energy. We're walking energy. You know what I'm saying? And you're constantly putting out radiating energy. Where are you putting your energy? Man, I try not to think about it. Okay, you're thinking about trying not to think about it. You're putting that energy in the wrong place, you know. So if you gotta apply, if we're gonna constantly radiate energy, let's get that energy some direction. And you know, I have a sign my wife got for me. It says uh, the only thing worse than being wrong is being wrong thinking you're right.
mm,
It's just like
yeah,
I know she probably got it to be sarcastic, but man, the message that it gave me it was big. You know, if I'm doing the wrong thing and I think I'm right, God dog, how far left am I? You know what I'm saying? How
yeah,
far off the beaten path really am I? So I just want to
yeah.
put some energy on that.
So,
But
so let me jump in there. It's funny you say that, based on some of the things, you talked about insight, that's looking in, to yourself. And, even if you look at the definition of insight, it's, the intuition of, or the understanding of, right? And
absolutely,
so, it really starts with self, the understanding of you. right? The understanding of how you influence a situation. You know,
Absolutely.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and you know, you, to your point of where you talked about learning, whether it's failure or whatever from somebody, you know,
Yeah.
I happen to be in leadership position, and I tell, my subordinates, my peers, and my superiors, at the end of the day, it's about you should be getting development from everybody, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. And so, when you're talking to individuals, you may hear something you don't like. You may see something that you don't like that they're doing. And at the end of the day, you have to take the good and the bad, and you have to put that in your tool bag, and that's going to give you that knowledge of understanding. Okay, I don't want to do this. Understanding that this is how I want to be. But all of that, none of that matters unless you can take those tools and what you've learned and apply it to who you are, right? Because you always have to be yourself. Don't take the tools that you've learned and everything you've seen and try to be that other person. You got to be
Right.
yourself and apply those tools to who you are, and help you navigate through those situations. And another thing you talked about was the energy. You know, something else that I like to tell people. I like energy, passion. It's all infectious, right? When you're in a situation, the energy and the
Yep.
passion that you put towards it, people are going to start to emulate that. And
Yes, it is.
it's like those goosebumps, right? You hear somebody say something that resonates with you, it's an uncontrollable or uncontrollable reaction that your body has. You might get those goosebumps. You might get this, or you just feel kind of like inspired, and you feel your energy rising, and it's not a deliberate action by you. It's inadvertent. Your body inadvertently reacting to what it likes, what it hears, what it sees, and that's what naturally drives us. So passion and energy is definitely infectious. So
CJ, to that too, if how you view yourself, this is that insight again. If there was a time where I thought I was just put on earth to fail because nothing wasn't working, and hopefully somebody can catch what I said there. I thought I was put on earth to fail because nothing was working. What I found was because of how I saw myself, nothing worked.
mm,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
You know, it was everything at that point because I couldn't keep a job longer than 2 years and nothing was working out and this and that and that and that and that. And I saw that from an external force or whatever you want to call it, nothing worked. And I guess this is how life's gonna be. That's one of those phrases that it's my wife would tell you. I and I still catch myself saying, it is what it is. No, it ain't. It no, it's not. It's not. It is what it is. That says we have no control over that. We got to be careful with that. You got to remember you're always listening. No matter what you say, be careful what you say because you're always listening. You will always hear what you say, and then you got to learn how to say it. I am. That people know me for that. That's what I say. Hey, good morning. How are you? I am. And a lot of people don't get that. What do you mean? I am. I am what I am. If I want to be happy, then I'm gonna be happy. If I want to be mad, I'm gonna be mad. If I want to succeed, I'm gonna succeed. If I want to fail, I'll fail. So I am. Whatever I choose to be, and that can change moment to moment, but the purpose doesn't. And the purpose is I am. I am, you fill in the blank. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it leaves me open to change. It leaves me open to opportunity, and when we look inside and we say, okay, you know what? I can't change your opinion of me, CJ. but I can change my own opinion of me. And because I changed my opinion of me, your opinion of me will probably change too.
That was deep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we got to control what we control, but we got to be careful what we're looking at. What information. This is going to be a long one, and I'm gonna move. I'm gonna stop talking after this. But how important is the right information? I'll tell you how important it is, because with information comes knowledge. With knowledge comes wisdom. With wisdom comes change. Comes a decision, if you would. So if you're given the wrong information, you're still gaining knowledge. And that knowledge that you gain will determine how much wisdom you have, or what you have it about. And not how much, but what wisdom you have. Because your wisdom could be, I belong over here. Or your wisdom could believe, I get to choose where I want to be. And with that comes a decision. So you decided, since you belong over here, this is where I'm going to stay. Since you decided I can't have, you won't get. So it's all about your information, that insight, how you see it, because it is a direct reflection of what's to come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say I like what you said about the knowledge, and with knowledge comes the wisdom, because reality is you got to really dig into that to understand that knowledge is snapshots in time. Knowledge is a compounding, like the more you can keep putting knowledge in the bag. And when you look at it from a wisdom standpoint, it's all of that combined together of what you've learned over the years, your experience, and everything in that bag applied equals that wisdom, that you have. So, with that, we're gonna kind of wrap this thing up, and definitely a great conversation with my older brother.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it. I love
And
it. We can't visit right now in this bid. So
yeah,
it's
so 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 in the light of wrapping it up, I'll say one of the biggest things that I've learned now, just talking, having this conversation, and over the course of time, is knowledge and wisdom. That's insight falls right into that, and really insight is the foundation, right? It's like a house. Insight is the foundation of your success. It's the foundation of your accomplishment. So really everything you do moving forward, everything I do, I need to take a step back. Let me soak everything in. Let me look at self. Let me look at surroundings, and gain as much insight that I need to move forward with success and accomplish our goals. And one of the things I like to say too is, your environment, it has two options, right? Either your environment is here and you're here and you need to rise to the occasion, or your environment is here and you are here and you need to pull your environment up to help your environment raise to the occasion as well. So and the direction is always up, right? Don't let your feelings, your emotions, and things of that nature impact to where your direction goes here, regardless of the environment that you're in. You want to continue to keep your eye on the prize, and and keep moving forward, which is going to bleed in right into that motion, right? Energy. What do you do in the next in the next stages of after you gather that insight? What is healthy energy? What is not healthy energy? What is the things that's going to create more barriers and hurdles for you to continue to propel forward towards your goals? So, with that, Mike, I'll definitely kick it over to you for any closing comments you got, and then I look forward to the next one. For we can talk about energy.
all right. First, before I go, your niece, she's dying to tell you hi. So you want to say
Uh
hi to me
oh.
real quick?
Hey man.
Yeah, she's been working her way around this whole time. So but I'll straight to it. Um, think before you think. You know, think before you think. Think that I know that sounds crazy, but when you get it, you'll get it. You know, um, reevaluate who you are. Understand that you get to choose who you are. And a lot of people don't believe that, but a lot of people don't even know that. I didn't know that. You get to choose who you are. And I use the example. And I hear people say, and this is something that CJ, I watch you do. I hear you do this. Often. Um, but people say, well, I know when I go over here, they're gonna piss me off. It kind of doesn't make sense. I mean, you're gonna get mad. Just choose not to get mad. You know what I'm saying? You know what's coming, so you get to choose what happens. You know what I'm saying? So you get to choose who you are. You can either allow them to upset you. You chose to do that, or you can choose to not get upset. So you get to choose who you are. But before you do that, you got to understand who you are. So, I would challenge, the people hearing this. Number one, self-examine yourself, because you might think you're such a bad person, and then you find out you're not. I know, I get it. I've been there. I thought, like I said before, I was put here to fail. That was my purpose on earth, is I was supposed to fail. No,
A deep understanding of a person or a thing.
no. I started looking around, and that's in the same situation, of me failing. I was rubbing elbows with millionaires, and they were showing me how to do it. I just didn't believe I was worth it. I didn't hold that much value on my life. So, I was like, okay, I got all. This is how I'm right in the room with them. Why am I asking, my boy off the block how to make millions when I'm sitting in the room with millionaires? I'm getting the wrong information. Man, all you got to do is work hard. They're saying, man, the people with money hardly work. I was trying to work with my hands. They said people with money work with their mind. We're both working. You know, they were telling me, man, you just not motivated. You're not moving. You're not this. You're not that. I know you're not. Think about what your friends tell you. Man, I'm really not feeling this. They were saying people with successful people don't operate on feelings, and that's what we say. I'm really not feeling this right now. I'm really feeling this right now. Left side of the menu saying we operate on principle, not feelings.
Mm.
You know, so I guess to tie it all together, you know, look at yourself, see who you really are, decide what you want, and if that's I know I don't know how professional that is, but this little girl right here, this there ain't no way in the world she ain't gonna have the things she wants, needs, whatever, and there are no feelings attached to that. That is a decision. That is a principle. So that's it. Decide what you're gonna do. Find the why. This why is bigger than my headache. This why is bigger than my stomach hurt. This why is bigger than me going to the club. There's not enough. There's not a big enough reason for me not to make sure she's taken care of. There's not, and that's my why.
Mm.
And that's what we mean when we say that you got to find a why that's bigger than your excuse. You know, so
Man.
look inside yourself, because sometimes we have some pretty big excuses. So
Yeah,
you got to
yeah,
find
yeah.
a large why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
man. Man, I wrote that down. What you said actually. You said this why is bigger than my headache. That's deep. And if your why is not bigger than your headache, you're not gonna give your all to
absolutely.
get there. So, but Hey, definitely a pleasure again. You
Absolutely.
know,
Be glad to have it.
yeah, tune in to the next phase of this. So we're gonna get on the energy, and you know, we might get so excited on here. You're gonna feel the energy coming through the screen. So,
Ring again. That's what this is right here. This light, that's the energy. It's trying to come
hey,
out. It's trying.
hey, right now it's potential energy, right? It's
Oh man.
it's no, and the next one we're gonna what is it? Kinetic energy.
Yeah,
We're gonna let
connect.
it
Yeah,
we're gonna let it release and you know, get excited. So, hey,
absolutely.
once again, so with that being said, y'all have a fantastic rest of your
Absolutely.
day, night, whatever, whenever you're checking this out, and hey, tune in for the next phase.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Hey, it's time to eat. Let's get it.
Time to eat. Let's get it. Let's go.